Welcome back to beautiful North Penn High School and a baseball field that for many people here today had a very big part in all of your lives. My name is Kevin Monero. I'm the current head coach at North Penn Baseball, and I am one very, very tiny piece of something much bigger, as all of our players just learned a few moments ago as some of our prestigious alumni from North Penn Baseball addressed the team in the high school. Last night, under the lights at Hostelli Field, over 500 people turned out for our community night at the ballpark when we played Lansdale Catholic. And it was a tremendous night as several dozen Little League players, community players, middle school players came out to the field with us for the national anthem, representing the future of North Penn baseball. We had a tremendous game, picked up a nice win last night, non-league victory as we head into the final game of the regular season on Tuesday. Put on a tremendous performance last night and showcased the North Penn Knights baseball program exactly as we would have liked them to do and exactly as they have done for every inning they've played since they started here. And to see the future Knights come out on the field last night with us was tremendous for the longevity of our program, and to see what those kids, hopefully, that those kids someday will be wearing the same uniform that these guys are wearing today. So we think the present is very important, and we think the future is very important. But today is all about the past. And sometimes in our world of busyness and our world of high school daily endeavors, we think about ourselves in a little bubble, and it's hard for us to predict what North Penn will be like someday, and it's also very hard for us to imagine what it was like before. In fact, it's easy sometimes to forget that it even existed before we got here, and that it's going to continue on very successfully as we leave. But I think it's very important that all of our current players and coaches and families are able to put into perspective what a North Penn baseball program really means. And so today, we are extremely honored to not only be able to watch all of our alumni who came out today play against each other and strap on the spikes one more time, but we're also very honored today to honor a man who the entire North Penn baseball program started with in 1954-55 school year, and that is the head coach of North Penn baseball from 1955 to 1980, Carl Guiranna. Coach Guarana was not able to be with us today, but he will be represented by his son, Mark Guarana, who also played baseball here at North Penn. And we'll be hearing from Mark Guarana in a little while as we unveil something that's going to become a staple here at North Penn High School baseball. We're going to start the Knights of Fame. And the Knights of Fame is a way for us to not only honor, but also respect and appreciate all the people that have laid the groundwork for what we have today and what we will have in the future. I would like to start this afternoon's ceremony by turning the microphone over to somebody who's been here longer than anybody in the stadium today, a person whose name is synonymous with North Penn athletics, and a man who is the guiding light behind everything we do here at North Penn, Mr. Donald C. Ryan, Athletic Director.
Thank you, Kevin. And special welcome to everyone, particularly the alumni who have returned to North Penn. Many comments, Kevin, that the field is just about the same when they played here back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, but what a great day this is to honor Coach Guarana. My first dealing came with Coach Guarana back when I was in 9th grade, and he was my science teacher in the old Lansdale High School building, room 209. Coach, definitely a baseball man. We would talk baseball when I was supposed to be doing some science projects, but he became our head baseball coach and has done a great job. Today is a lot of fond memories have come back to me of the players who were here, and we've talked about sometimes some of the things that have happened, and I'm glad to see all these returning players come back. Coach also had some assistant coaches for a long time that came back. Harry Nace was his first assistant coach. Tom Cash followed with Harry. And then Al Broadhag and Jim Wild were his assistants for a long time, followed by Kurt Kreischer and the late Jay Rodenberger. In 1976, the North Penn LC series began in what was called the Floyd T. Cash Memorial Scholarship Game between North Penn and Lansdale Catholic, played under the lights at Memorial Park. And this was something in memory of Floyd Cash, who was a known for baseball in Lansdale, a North Penn fan. In fact, he had passed away at a North Penn basketball game at the Palestra playoff game. So the scholarship game was created in his memory. In 1980, the North Penn went to district playoffs for the first time, finished second. The games were played at Westchester University, finished second with a 2-1 record, and then went on to the state playoffs. They had, that time it was double elimination. So you left on Tuesday and came back Saturday or when you were eliminated. It was a nice week. It was for all the teams that were at there. We had lost to, I believe it was Chambersburg at the time. So at this time, Kevin, do you want it back? All right. Thank you again for all coming, and congratulations, Coach Guarana.
Thank you, Doc. Just one moment before we go to our next speaker, just want to make everybody aware that if everybody would turn their attention to the man in the blue polo shirt and the khaki shorts up there standing in front of the air conditioning unit, that's Tom Strickland. Tom Strickland is the president of the North Penn Alumni Athletic Association, and Mr. Strickland is very, very involved with North Penn Athletics. And if anybody has not yet joined the Alumni Athletic Association, see Mr. Strickland before you leave, and he will absolutely love to get you guys signed up. Our next speaker today is a man who not only played for Coach Guarana, but he was then able to return and help him as a coach. So he offers a very unique perspective, and that is Mr. Rick Budwig.
Thanks, Kevin. So, Mark, first of all, please wish Dad my best. I do want to say that besides my father and my grandfather, I would say that Coach G had the biggest influence on me. And unfortunately, when I was going through the experience, I didn't appreciate it. But Coach Guarana was a disciplinarian, to say the least. We talked about it in the classroom, but we learned how to compete. We learned how to play hard, and if we won, it was a really good thing. If we lost, we understood the consequences of losing, particularly if it was a mental thing. He understood that eventually you'd make a physical mistake, but learning how to compete and do your best is something that Coach Guarana taught me, and I thank him for that. Please extend my best to him. Congratulate him, because I know that by the time I got here in 1973, and I was about 4 foot nothing and weighed 100 pounds and didn't get to play in a JV game, but Coach G saw enough to understand that maybe I would grow up, and I had a chance to do a lot of things with baseball. I owe it all to him. Please make sure you thank him for me. Congratulate him. Give your mother our best, because I would tell you, and you know it, that he was nothing without Claire, and she certainly helped. So I think that we all have to understand that in 1975, when, Doc, you were here, what, 45 years by 1975? We used to throw the rocks off of this baseball field, and a home run went past the tennis courts because there was no fence. But it certainly has grown into a very, very fine facility, something to be proud of. Something I know that Kevin carries on the tradition of what Coach G started, what Mr. Rittenhouse continued, and all the best to everybody, and certainly the best to your dad, and thank him very much for me.
Thanks, Rick. And next we're going to hear from the Southpaw from 1980, Tom Christie.
Dedicated, committed, respected, tough, passionate, disciplined, and focused are all just a few of the terms used to describe Coach Carl Guiranna, affectionately known to those of us who play for him as Coach G. Coach G is a true baseball man. He's the definition of an old school coach and knows only one way to play the game, the right way. Playing for Coach, there was no gray area, only right and wrong. There was a right way to hit the ball, a right way to throw the ball, and a right way to catch the ball. There was even a right way to put on your uniform. If you didn't do something the right way, Coach would quickly let you know about it. Sometimes he didn't even have to say a word, just his look would say it all. I had the fortunate experience to play for Coach G, not only my 3 years at North Penn, but also for 4 years in college as he served as my pitching coach. When I first got to North Penn, I wasn't very big and didn't throw very hard. And Coach later went on to tell me that the only reason he kept me on the team was because I was left-handed. But Coach taught me how to pitch, and specifically, he taught me how to throw a curveball. I still remember at tryouts in the gymnasium that first year, Coach came up to me and said, "Show me your curveball." Well, I thought I knew how to throw a curveball, but Coach quickly let me know otherwise. He grabbed hold of my hand and showed me the proper grip of the curveball. Then he grabbed hold of my arm and told me I had to pull down the shade. I stared at him blankly, and then he showed me the action he was trying to describe. Sure enough, I tried it, and the ball dropped off the table, as he called it. Coach had nicknames for a lot of players on our team. Our catcher, Chris Bomuller, he called Bobo Belinsky. Our first baseman, Alan Warner, was Dr. Strangeglove. I was just referred to as left-hander, sometimes goofy left-hander, depending on the day. For the longest time, I thought we had a player on our team named Judas Priest, but I came to realize that was a name he had for all of us at one time or another. Seriously, Coach taught me a lot more than just about the game of baseball. He taught me about life. He taught me that hard work, dedication, and being prepared all translated to success, both on and off the baseball field. I wish Coach could be here today. If he was, I would say thank you, Coach, for the lessons you taught, and congratulations on your induction to the Knights of Fame.
From a personal standpoint, I'm a little humbled when I think back to the history of North Penn to be fortunate enough, and I think everybody here in uniform should consider yourselves very fortunate to be a part of something much bigger than yourselves, but I'm fortunate enough to have the opportunity now to coach in the footsteps of Coach Carl Guiranna and Coach Bob McCreary, who I had the fortunate privilege to work side by side with for 9 years. Coach McCreary probably taught me more about baseball as I coached with him than I learned maybe my whole life, which is quite a testament to him. But I also learned a lot about baseball from my own high school baseball coach, and I didn't tell him he was going to speak today, but he's going to anyway because he's here. So just a couple of words, because it's very, very rare that we have the opportunity to have multiple generations of coaches here. So just for a couple minutes, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dave Rittenhouse. Revenge is sweet.
Thank you, Kevin. I guess I have to relate back to my playing days here at North Penn. Started in 19 something. And I was a little sophomore, probably weighing about 120 pounds. And I can remember that I started on the JV for like a week. And next thing I know, Coach Grana's calling me and he said, "Come on up here, we need you." And from that point on, for the next 3 years, I played for Coach Grana, and I'll tell you what, I don't think there's anybody that I've ever been associated with as a coach that taught me as much as Coach Guarana. Everything I learned about baseball was from Coach Guarana. He was a great man. There were many days that, of course, I guess he didn't see eye to eye with me. Met me a couple times at the third base line. A couple times he ran right out in the infield and let me know what I was doing wrong. But those were great days, and I think I learned from everything that he taught me. We had, my senior year, we had 3 fellows that all started with R's, so we were known as the 3 R's. And those were the days that if you made a mental error, we had a meeting every morning before school, and he would go over the whole game, the whole day. And, well, if you made a mental error, it cost you a nickel for every mental error. And there were some guys on the team that, hey, they were going to lose their lunch every day. So it was many things that I learned from Coach Grana, and I went on to play at high school and college. And even my college coach, I don't think could ever compare to what I learned from Coach Guarana. I came on back here in 1981, and the first team we had, we went on and we placed second. I think it was second in the districts, and what a great group of young men we had, and they all kind of came right along with me, even though they had all played for Coach Grant for 2 years. It was just a nice group of young men. We went on, played, and finished runner-up, I guess, to, what was it? I'm trying to think, huh? about 4th, 5th in the district that year. But it was with that, every time I turned around, and then we played most of the games at Westchester, every time I turned around though, and every game we were there, out in right field in his chair was Coach Guarana and Mrs. Grana. And what a great thrill to have your coach come and continue to follow you through the playoffs. We got back in the playoffs 2 years later and won the districts, and who was in right field again? Coach Grana and Mrs. Guarana. And it was just a great thrill to see them and a great privilege to play for Coach Guarana. And I like to say to Mark, and Mark played for me that 1981 team. He was, I have to say to his father, tell his father that we all miss him. He was a great guy, and good luck, buddy. This guy here did play for me. We can't say a lot about him, but we will say one thing, that he was a real competitor out there on the mound. He was a tough little cookie out in the pitcher's mound, and I'm glad to see that he has come on and become a great coach here at North Penn. Thanks, Kevin.
I think we might institute that nickel for a mental error policy, because if we did that this year, we probably could build that stadium back there. Right, Akins? Okay. All right. I also want to say about Coach Rittenhouse that what he just said is very true about how proud he was to have Coach Guarana follow him. Last year when we played in the state playoffs, we were playing Coatesville up at Springford in the quarterfinals. And when the game was over and I turned down and looked down the right field line and saw Coach Rittenhouse there, I was pretty happy. And that's something that it's a beauty of having a program, because when you figure that you're a part of something bigger than that, and you see the generations of everybody that came through the uniform connect, I think it's very special. Lastly, today we're going to bring up a man who has been very influential in organizing this entire day, and somebody who I know is very excited to be able to come back here as an alumni, and that is class of 1975 Representative Mr. Bob Law.
On behalf of the entire North Penn High School baseball family, and in particular the alumni who had a chance to play for Coach Guarana, Mark, please accept this plaque in honor of your father's induction into the Knights of Fame 2014. Thanks.
I want to say thank you to everybody who came out today. Dad would have loved to have been here. Health issues prevented that. North Penn baseball. I mean, I grew up with it, obviously. I told some of the guys here today I was the bat boy for a lot of teams in the late 60s, early 70s. And, you know, my brothers and sisters went through Catholic school, and my dad had me in Catholic school. And in 6th grade, I told him, you know, after being a bat boy, you know, I'd come home from those games and I'd reenact plays in the backyard that happened, you know, with Pat Prediger and Terry Moyer and all those guys. And I wanted to be a Knight, because being a Knight, you know, wearing that uniform meant something. And that's what he instilled in you, and that's what he took pride in. And I love hearing all the stories from all you guys. But you know what? You guys didn't have to go home with them. So. But thank you very much. Dad appreciates it. Mom appreciates it. And for my whole family, thank you.
Mark, if you could actually stay up here, we have one more thing. If I could have our captains, Noah Melcher, Chris Kersey, and Jared Malone come out, please. I think it's very important for everybody who comes to the program now and in the future to have appreciation for the past. And so one of the things we want to start to do here is make sure that everybody who comes to the field knows the man that started everything you see here today. And so over there on the side fence where our championship signs hang, you can see that there's room for one more sign. And we hope to make this a tradition every year where we add somebody to the Knights of Fame. And what a great person to be the first one. So at this time, if you boys could unveil that sign that's going to hang on the fence for Carl Guiranna, first member of the North Penn High School Baseball Knights of Fame. All right, thanks, guys. You could just take it off to the side. That'd be great. Just a few announcements here before we wrap up. One of the things that you'll notice is back behind home plate, next to the canopy where most of you signed in when you came here, there are some architectural renderings of a vision that we have for where we're standing right now. And obviously something like that is a difficult thing to attain, but we're hoping that with the involvement of a lot of alumni that we can make that possible in the very near future, because certainly we'd like to have an atmosphere here for baseball that continues the tradition that Coach Guarana started many years ago. And the better the atmosphere, the better facilities, the more excited people get about baseball, and you can never be excited enough about baseball. So if anybody is interested at any point in helping us to be able to complete that endeavor that you see up on the signs back there, please contact me. We have a lot of people in our booster club, and there's a growing alumni club here that we'd love to have you involved, and we'll reach out to as many of you as we can. But that's a real big vision for our future, and again, just continue to build the program that was started, the foundation built by Carl Guiranna himself. Also, following the ceremony today, we have several alumni on hand who are ready to lace it up and get out here and play. So as soon as we get done here, you guys can feel free to go out and stretch and get loose. I have 911 on speed dial just in case we need it. And we certainly look forward to getting back on the field here one more time and having everybody play. All alumni are invited back to Giuseppe's after the game over at Broad Street in Cowpath. We're going to have a little social there afterwards to continue the fun and hopefully network and get back in touch with each other and hopefully make this something that we're going to do every single year. Once again, on behalf of everybody who's up here today, very, very esteemed group of people, and certainly Mark Guarana, thank you so much for being here today, and congratulations to your family and obviously to your father for this great achievement. Thank you everybody for coming out today. We have a big game on Tuesday at Penn Ridge at 3:45. Feel free to join us. It's for all the marbles. We're both tied in first place right now, and I'm very proud to be able to say that with Mark here, that we're upholding his father's tradition, and we're up there and ready to win a league title on Tuesday, 3:45. Come out to 2nd Street Park in Perkins if you're not doing anything, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and everywhere else in the world that exists today. So thanks everybody for coming out. Stick around for the alumni game, and have a great day.